So just passing that along. Here's what we've got going right now in this political race ahead of the big debate tomorrow. The fact that whether you like Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders or Ben Carson, it's all these outside the box candidates, or not your traditional Petri candidates, who are resonating. Take a look just among the Republican front runners. About a third to a half of the vote is going to non-politicians. Take a look at what Bernie Sanders is doing. I know he is a United States senator, but he is a socialist. He is outside the typical Petri dish. He is leading the party establishment figure, Hillary Clinton, in both New Hampshire and Iowa, and not just by a little bit, by a lot. To Gina Loudon and Christy Setzer on this anti-establishment surge. Gina, you were on this very, very early, but the notion was that such sentiment fades the closer we get to primaries and an election, that we romance with these type candidates, then we invariably go back to the comfortable types. What do you think?
I think that the American public has gotten rather comfortable, Neil, with the idea of someone who's not going to give lip service to the dire issues of our country in this moment, and someone who's going to actually put a little action behind their words. And I think the confidence in the establishment type candidate is just absolutely gone at this point for both parties.
Do you agree with that, Christy?
I do agree with that. I think that if you are any sort of established politician, if you've held any elected office whatsoever, your chances are in danger this election. It's actually even broader than what you'd suggested earlier. If you look at the Republican Party, it's as much as 6 out of 10 voters who are supporting either Trump or Ben Carson or Carly Fiorina, all people who've never held elected office. That's got to be terrifying if you are a traditional politician.
But, we all get to a point, right, guys, where people's patience breaks, and they really do mean it when they say, I'm sick of this. I want to go outside this. This is how third parties have been formed. This is how very different type candidates have emerged. Abraham Lincoln comes to mind. I know that was a long, long time ago and things changed, but candidates who are not your typical candidates, or at least the early on favored candidates, emerge. Gina, could this be that moment, this race be that moment?
I think it is very impossible to predict anything other than the fact that the people that have felt like political correctness has squelched their voice for so long feel like they've found their voice, and they intend to keep it, Neil. And, my background's in psychology. You get someone in therapy, and you just, for a moment, you just kind of repeat back to them what you understand them to be saying. Effectively, that's what Donald Trump did. He said, hey, American people, this is what I perceive you to be saying. And now all of a sudden, that it's like a volcano has erupted, and the American public intends to be heard. I don't think there's any stopping it at this point.
But, Christy, eventually people want specifics, right? Even if you're outside the box, they want to know what you would do, right?
Sure they do, but at some point, I think that matters less. As Bill Clinton once famously said, the people prefer strong and wrong to weak and right, and they're getting a lot of strong and wrong out of Donald Trump right now, who has a lot of incredibly insulting things to say that are, I think, long-term very damaging for the Republican Party, but he doesn't seem like he's afraid to say it to anyone, and I think that's
you say
appealing.
Strong and wrong, I mean on personal comments he's made about some individuals, but not on policy, you know what I mean?
And what's more damaging to the Republican Party than a candidate that loses perennially? I mean, that's what the Republican Party has delivered so far, is a John McCain, is a Mitt Romney. So I tend to think that wrong for the party is what loses. And right now, the numbers that Donald Trump is attracting from independents and Democrats and women and Hispanics and blacks, I don't know how you can call that wrong
something's
for the
going
party.
on, and it might dissipate to both your points. I mean, as a possibility, but it has not happened yet. But ladies, I want to thank you both very much. By the way, speaking of ladies in the aggregate, Hillary Clinton should be worrying about this one.